I'm Leslie English, and I want to welcome you back to my series and study on the redemptive gifts. This is session 2 of a 9-part series that I'm recording to help you understand your redemptive gift. I hope you were able to tune into session 1 and learn about the principles and what redemptive gifts are, and I hope you're excited and feel welcome to be back with me today. I hope you were able to go to www.lionscommunity.com and download the screening and take it. And I hope you're excited to find out all about what that revealed and what your primary gift is. This study is based on a book that I have truly enjoyed. The book is called Design for Fulfillment, a study of the redemptive gifts. It's written by Charles R. Well Jr. and the foreword was by Arthur Burke. This book has absolutely changed my life and so much about me. And so I'm excited to venture down this road for you. My plan for today in session 2 is to just go over an overview of all the 7 gifts and give you a little bit of insight as to what each gift is and things about it. And then the remainder of the series, sessions 3 through 9, I'll go into each individual gift one at a time and give you very detailed information on each individual gift. So like I said, today's like an overview, so just sit back and just be excited to begin to learn all about our Creator and more about yourself. So there's 3 key terms that I'm going to reference throughout today's discussion, and I just want to make sure that I make it very clear what those 3 terms are and just what their definition is. So the first key term is principle. So each gift has a principle, and what a principle is, it's a universal, non-optional, just a general rule of truth that God has set into motion. It's a cause and effect. It's something that God put it into motion and he no longer needs to intervene for it to happen. The most common one or easiest one I think to understand is an exhorter's principle, and that principle is the one of sowing and reaping. So basically you reap what you sow, and so as you sow seeds, then you reap the harvest from it. The second key term that we talk about that will make sure you have a full understanding is I will talk about each gift has an authority. An authority for each gift, it's an area of authority that you earn as you choose to live a righteous life with Jesus. You begin to earn that authority and have the ability to pray and walk in that authority. So these are areas that are given and they parallel the day of creation. So as we've talked about that there are 7 gifts, then so day 1 will parallel the prophet gift. Day 2 would parallel the servant gift. Day 3 parallels the teacher gift. Day 4 parallels the exhorter gift. Day 5 parallels the giver gift. Day 6 parallels the ruler gift. And day 7 parallels the mercy gift. So we'll go through each of those in our in-depth part. And then the third key term that I will reference is called our birthright. And that's a revelation of what God has literally put in our spiritual DNA. It's drawn from our description of the 7 churches in Revelation. And it's just how you're spiritually in your core and what speaks to you the most. So those are the 3 key terms you'll hear me kind of go in and out of. So you've taken the test and you have the label. Now we're going to dive in more to the label because as we learned in session 1, it's much more than a label. Learning all about your gift, it's so much more than a label. It's now I'm going to help you learn what to do with that. So when you did your screening and you have your dominant gift, what oftentimes you see your gift come into flourish is actually some of our negative aspects of our life. Like when you're tired, when you're hungry, when you're frustrated, you'll kind of see the the carnal sides, because you see each gift has a fleshly carnal side and it has a spiritual godly side. So definitely learning from my carnal sides of my gift, I said this in session 1 also, has taught me more about my weaknesses and things than any other part of the study. So let's start to dive in. Let's talk about each one and just go from there. I want to start with just a fun thing that the book talks about going on vacation. Let's just imagine. I'll have you close your eyes with me. Take a moment and you close your eyes. And I say, let's pack our bags and in 30 minutes, we're leaving to go on vacation. Think about what your initial reaction is going to be. Think about it. Okay, so I gave you a few minutes. I also didn't tell you, though, where we were going on vacation. So I could have said we're going on vacation to a tropical thing, and that's like, woohoo! But I didn't tell you that. I just said we're going on vacation, pack your bags, 30 minutes, let's go. I didn't tell you we were going to a jail in the center of a city, just a yucky place, and we were going to have to stay there for a few days. That'd be pretty cruel of me, wouldn't it? And I'm not taking you there. But let me talk about what some of the reactions would be, because I think this is a funny side of learning our gifts. So our exhorters, as soon as I said to you, we're going on vacation, you were like, woohoo, let's go. I'm ready to go. I'm packing my bags. I'm so excited. And you were out the door. You were actually ahead of me. You were leaving before I even got my stuff ready. The servants, you definitely, what went through your brain was, well, she didn't tell me where I was going and what we were doing, and I don't know what to pack, and I need to make sure that I have all the Band-Aids, or I have sunscreen, or I have a toboggan. I need to have a whole list of things of what I need to take with me. Wait, I'm not ready. You didn't give me all the information. Mercies, you probably were thinking, oh, I'm not sure. I don't know if this feels right. Everything for you is all about feel. I'm not sure how she felt. I don't know if I'll upset someone by going. Somebody else was counting on me to be at an office meeting tomorrow. Just so many aspects that play into that. The giver, you were saying, well, how much is going to cost me? Because I didn't say it was a free trip. I said, hey, we're going on vacation. I know that's where your mind went was, well, what's this going to cost me? The ruler, like myself, I need to have it all planned out. Who's going? Where are we going? How are we getting there? Are we taking my vehicle, your vehicle? How many miles are we going to have to go? Everything about it. I need to know who's driving and who's riding and what each responsibility of each person is. The prophet, you just want a truth. When you heard your mercy friend over there trying to decide, oh, I'm not sure, is this good or not? You were saying it's black and white. You're either going or you're not. And I think I went through all 7 gifts with that. So that was just some examples of a thing. But I want to also give you the examples of if you go on a vacation, because the ideal vacation for each gift is very different. And I found this very interesting because definitely certain ones did not speak to me at all and other ones did. So I'm going to read some of this from the book. So the prophet. So your ideal vacation spot. It's a wide open spaces with very few people. A prophet on vacation wants to sit on the rim of the Grand Canyon, just you and God, without talking to any of the local people. The prophet wants to discover new history and new concepts, not build relationships. He dislikes groups, tours, and cruises with no purpose. Servants, your ideal spot is anywhere as long as you can serve someone else. When going to the beach, you want to make sure that everybody has their umbrella, their suntan lotion, their lemonade, anything they want to eat or drink for lunch. You prefer going on a work project or a mission trip rather than an all-inclusive spa where others are constantly serving you. Servants, can you imagine if you went to a spa and you were going to just sit back and everyone else was going to serve you? To some of the other gifts, they think that's ideal. To you, you're literally cringing in your skin to think that someone else would serve you. Teachers, your ideal spots are somewhere that you've never been before. A teacher does not go the same place twice. unless you didn't see everything the first time. A funny story about that, my dad's a teacher, and I can't tell you how many times when we would travel to and from places on vacation or just from everyday travel, we would go down one road in one direction and we'd come back the other way because he hadn't seen that today. And so I think that's very funny. You never travel the same road twice. A teacher enjoys thoroughly researching every logistic. Teachers will know what the location is known for and which restaurants are rated the highest because they're going to research it and they're going to know everything about it. They'll methodically go through the museums, reading every sign and leaving no stone unturned. They make sure it's done correctly and don't like pressure of balancing everybody else's desires. He leaves on vacation looking forward to the next place to research and to learn about. The exhorter. Your ideal spot is a cruise or a resort location where there's a party all the time and lots of people to interact with and a variety of fun things to do and to have no responsibility at all. They like to have something that is larger than life to talk about when they get home. I personally can say I went on a cruise one time and it was an enjoyable time, but it definitely was not my type of vacation. It was definitely some of my exhorter friends' ideal vacation, and they continue to go on cruises, and that's wonderful. The giver. There's two locations that you might like. One would be a place where you can be spontaneous. No reservations, just get in the car and see where it takes you. Givers don't like vacation plans that lock them in, that they have to be here and they have to be there. They want flexibility to stay another day if they desire. A second location that a giver would go to is definitely a vacation with purpose. You want to use your resources and use them intelligently. Maybe traveling to another location and teaching a seminar while you're there. You don't tend to like vacations just for the sake of doing nothing. You need to see the value in going on vacation. Our sixth vacation spot is a ruler. Rulers, your ideal vacation spot is something that you can organize and administer. You like organizing a family reunion, a camping trip, a ski trip, a group where there is work to be done and jobs to delegate to other people. You thrive under pressure with a group and to administer. You like pressure of a new project and seeing a plan come together. It's very difficult for rulers to just sit still. You'll find a project to work on, and if there is not one presented to them, you'll find one anyways. That is definitely me. I do not sit on the beach very long. I can sit there for just a few minutes, but I have to either have the plan of I'm going to sit here and I'm going to read a book. I'm going to sit here because I need rest. I'm going to sit here. I'm going to sit there for a little while, but I'm not going to sit there very long. On the contrary, our seventh gift is mercy. And a mercy's ideal vacation spot is a place where you can do nothing to relax or just be. The mercy doesn't like to vacation alone. You prefer to go with others. And you want lots of options and activities so that everyone's needs are met. You struggle with making decisions between two options because you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. If someone else expresses a strong opinion, like they want to go have seafood tonight, you'll go along with them rather than you absolutely didn't want seafood, but you would go with them because you wouldn't hurt their feelings by saying you didn't want to. So I think that's a very fun exercise to kind of go through our mind. I know you're probably sitting there thinking to yourself, well, that's what that person does, or that's how that person is. And I think that's so beautiful about this study of redemptive gifts, is about how different we all are and how wonderfully we're designed and created to be. So I'm going to dive in a little bit more in an overview of the gifts, going through each and every one individually, and just kind of give you a sneak peek of things that I will be going more in depth in the next few sessions. So the first gift I'm going to talk about is our prophet gift. So prophets, you tend to be very intensive in nature. You go from a 0 to a 10 very quickly. You have very high passion and strong feelings about everything in your life. To tell a prophet to calm down is not possible. They're either all in or they're all out, but there's no in between for them. They see things through the principle of design. They literally don't see things from human perspective, but they see it from God's perspective. They're looking from heaven down. They don't look horizontally at the things around us in contrast to an exhorter. That's how you normally tend to look. But both the prophet and definitely the mercy are more vertically aligned, more with heaven down. The difference in those two, though, according to that, is the mercy knows God's heart and how he feels, and the prophet knows God's mind and how he sees. This is definitely a seeing gift. And sometimes they can't explain what they're seeing or how they're seeing it, but they definitely see way far ahead. I've got my mom's permission to talk about her some, and there has been many, many, many times in our lives that she has told me something, and it just didn't really speak to my spirit yet, and it didn't really click with me, and I'm like, yeah, Mom, that sounds good, but I didn't really get it. And within like 6 months to a year, it's prevalent in every part, and I've got the burning fire and design inside of my spirit, and I totally will latch on it and we go with it. She definitely sees it way far ahead than I see. She's out there on the front lines. If you are on a battlefield, a prophet tends to be the one in the front. They're seeing directly from God and what he has for us and in store for us, and it's such a very powerful gift. But they sometimes can't explain it, so we have to just give them that grace and understand that and just trust it. They often, one of their weaknesses is relationships, though. They suffer with broken relationships often in their life because they don't really operate on feelings. And I don't mean that in a bad way, because they're compassionate and they care for other people. But it's very black and white to them. If God said it, I do it. Don't care so much what people think or feel along the way. I don't mean they don't care. That's a little harsh wording, but it's not as important to them. And they just speak truth. It's all about truth for a prophet. Another example, have you ever known someone? So here, let's imagine we're all sitting at Thanksgiving dinner. And I have a prophet son, so I could see this happening. This has not happened in my home, but this could happen. You start to eat grandma's turkey, and the turkey's very dry. And no one's saying anything about it because we don't want to hurt grandma's feelings. But you ask the prophet child, how's the turkey? And they innocently will say, well, it was dry and a little chewy and a little overdone. And everyone gasps, oh, I can't believe you just said that to grandma's turkey. But he didn't mean to hurt grandma's feelings. He doesn't even understand why everyone's saying that to him. He just spoke truth in that grandma's turkey was dry and it just was done too much. He wasn't being harmful in any way, shape, or form. No, wasn't trying to be. But then oftentimes the prophet then tries to shape himself to be different because society tells him that's too harsh. And yet we need truth. We need God's truth to be spoken, to be delivered. They're the ones that's going to call out sin in life. And as long as they do it in love, it's the perfection of what Christ has created us to be and how they should be. Because they're the ones that's going to point out when things are going wrong and everything's falling apart in your life. If you get a hold of a prophet and can listen to what they have to say, they're going to tell you why things aren't going right in your life and what you need to work on. And that's a beautiful gift. As I said before, the battlefield for them is relationships and working on those. Their authority is speaking light and life into someone or a situation. They literally see ahead. They can work with broken people because they see not the brokenness that a person's going through or the sin that they're in right now, but they see how God sees them in fulfillment and when they're walking in righteousness. And they want to help you get there. They speak light and life into your spirit, into your soul. And that's what's so beautiful about prophets. Their birthright is they don't see like others see. They will see broken things into the fulfillment, like I was just talking about. So I jumped ahead of myself there just a little bit, but that's their birthright, is to see you in fulfillment. A couple biblical examples in the Bible of a couple prophets, because I know you may be wondering. One is definitely Elijah. He's called the prophet, and we know that. Definitely Peter. You know, he was the one quick when they came to get Jesus, that jumped quickly and cut off the ear of the soldier. He's very intense. It's all in. It's 100% what he feels, and he's speaking truth. He was the one that delivered the message to the thousands, and such a beautiful thing about them. So lastly, I want to repeat just some weaknesses for them, that they can be judgmental, the relationships can be issues, and definitely bitterness. But prophets, you're a beautiful gift. You're a beautiful design, and we need you to be speaking truth and be speaking life into people so that we can see people walk in the fulfillment that God's created them for. The second gift, let's move on. We're going to servants now. Servants, wow, I love teaching this to servants. If you scored a servant, I am so excited to work with you, because I have seen servants' lives be absolutely changed by this teaching. Because servants, you don't want the spotlight. You would die if someone would tell you to do what I'm doing today and record a video and everything about this that I'm doing. You would do it if God absolutely made you do, but you definitely wouldn't want the spotlight. But God knows you don't want the spotlight, and that's why your principle is authority. Because God gives you the principle of authority because he knows you don't want it, and you won't take it and use it for your glorification or for anything else, but you would only take it for his glorification because you don't want to be recognized for the things that you do. Your battlefield can sometimes be feeling like a victim. You tend to apologize for everything. But you can be victimized because you give. And if you are not careful and don't take care of yourself, you get burnt out. And then you start to feel like you're a victim and nobody appreciates you and everything's just humdrum. Be very careful about that. You can pray for leaders and see things change. You can love families that are deeply broken. It's often said that servants can go into broken situations and they can make them better but not be defiled during it. You can keep a situation very clean, whereas other gifts, things would start to come on them and they would kind of absorb into it. You can be in the worst of the worst and continue to go on as God has designed you to go on. You come underneath your leaders and you pray for them, and you will help the Holy Spirit empower them, because you can speak things into the atmosphere and make things absolutely change, and you bring such support for your leadership. It's amazing. You desire to serve people and meet physical needs all the time, and it literally is what brings you joy, is serving other people. Your birthright is to be a life giver, and especially to leaders. You like to cleanse things, make them clean, make them new again. Your thought is, how can I come underneath? How can I help out? What can I do to make this successful? What can I do in church to help build or help teach or let's get this thing accomplished? You don't even think about it. It's naturally in your wiring. One of my nieces I know has this gift, and I'll share a little about her. She will sit down at a table, I've seen her do this at a very young age, has an older sister, and we're all sitting down to eat, and she jumps up, oh, my sister doesn't have a drink. And she gets up and she begins to get it. I didn't even notice that her sister didn't have the drink, and her sister hasn't even asked for it. She just literally saw the need and met it. And servants, that's absolutely your gifting and the beauty of what you are. Your weakness, though, you can feel responsible to meet everyone's needs and have bad boundaries. You get worn out and you worry too much and enable others, and you can get burned out. I've definitely seen that happen for sure with servants that I know. You get worn out because you say yes too much. You need to do a study, and I won't go into the depth of that, but I would encourage you to reach out to a study about boundaries and learning this very simple word. Repeat after me. No. I'm sorry, I can't do that right now. Those words right now, those two key sentences, are very important to your life and learning about yourself and protecting your family and protecting yourself. It's okay if you can't help someone paint their walls today because you literally already are maxed out for today. It's okay if you can't help do this or do that for someone else. They will forgive you because it's just okay. It's not humanly possible. Prophets in this room are go, yeah, it's just black and white. You just say no. But to a servant, it's very deep for them. And they don't want to tell anyone no, and they have a very hard problem with that. An example in the Bible of a beautiful servant was Queen Esther. Queen Esther approached the king and literally saved the Jewish nation. She did it and was given favor without even asking it. And servants, that's what God will do for you. He will grant you favor in things that you go through without you even asking for it, because he knows you have such humility and you will serve others and empower them. And I hope that I'm speaking to your soul and bringing maybe even tears to your eyes to know how important you are to the kingdom of God. Next on our list, number 3, is our beautiful teacher gift. I love our teachers. Their principle is that of responsibility. The principle that they go through can be what they suffer with sometimes is selective responsibility. Do you know someone that knows all the facts about everything and is the most organized in their thoughts and things and presenting maybe a big corporate thing, knows all the facts, all the details, but yet you go to their office space and their desk is an absolute mess? And that's because that's something that's selective to them. Or maybe someone that can precisely be a great craftsman and woodworking and such, but you go to their woodworking shop and it's an absolute mess. And that's because of selective responsibility of what they choose to be responsible for and what they don't. They love to talk and get things out where people can begin to understand it. They love truth. They like to study things like Greek and Hebrew. When they're doing Bible study, they're going to go back to the root words and study what the meanings of those were and everything about those. They can study the most amazing little facts to the finest degree. They can do this forever. And the rest of us are saying, like, it doesn't really matter how many cells are in the eye of a newt. But to them, it does matter, and they need to know those facts. They'll come up with all kinds of little facts, like, did you know this? Did you know this? Did you know this? They're responsible in certain parts of their life, and they're very hyper irresponsible in other parts of their life with the selective responsibility. Yet they can have amazing ideas, lead something that's just incredible. A terrible thing or a weakness for a teacher is procrastination. Because what a teacher will do, if you don't put a deadline on a teacher, they'll research and research and research and research a project and never get started. They'll procrastinate to get started because what they do is when they're starting a project, they have to see it finished before they even begin it. Other gifts like exhorters would just jump in and start building something, and well, if they just need to go to the store and get something else or do this, that, or they need to revise the plan, they'll just do it along the way. Teachers, Nope, that's not how they function. They literally have to see the design, the product, and everything in their mind will be all mapped out and planned out. Then they begin the step-by-step approach to get there. They're meant to bring blessings as they bring forth fruit and teach things that can be passed down for generations. They want deep truth. When they're at their best, they get to know God. And when you're around teachers, you get to know God. One weakness that they have to watch to not fall into, though, is they can hyper-focus on the doctrine and not as much on faith. And they can fall more into a religious spirit. And they have to be very, very, very careful with that. A biblical example of a teacher in the Bible was Luke. Luke has the longest of the 4 Gospels. He's the one that records in Luke 1:23 that Jesus was 30 years old when he started his ministry. There are many things that he links to history when he talks about Jesus's birth, of the timing, and he gives you all those little examples that go along to line up so that you could fact check. Teachers, you're an amazing gift. You bring forth truth so we don't all fall into things that aren't truthful. You go in alignment with the prophet on the truth aspect because you desire truth above everything else, and you're going to do all the research and everything that it takes to find it out. And we need that in our lives. We don't need to be deceived by false teachings, and we need you to be fact-checking on everything goes about. Moving on, our 4th gift. Hey, exhorters! Woohoo! You're the life of the party. You bring such excitement and enjoyment into atmospheres, and I love so much about you. One example of an exhorter, a dear friend of mine, she is beautiful and I love her so much, and we were going to a convention, a women's convention, and she had arrived before us, and a van of us got there together, a group of us, and as we pulled in and we began to get out of our car, literally the door swings open and she's like, "My girls are here!" and she screams it. And you know, to everyone else, they wouldn't necessarily do that, but that is her in perfection of her attitude. And you're so fun. Like, I can't even talk about you without a big smile on my face and the gift and the joy and happiness you bring to life. And I just admire that quality. It's so outgoing, it's so personable, and it's just absolutely beautiful. Your principle is sowing and reaping, as I talked about earlier in the session. You want to plant the seeds. You sow those seeds. You sow Jesus into people, and you want to reap a great and bountiful harvest, which is absolutely amazing. You always see bigger. You see better. You see more, more, more. You want everyone to know him, everyone to know Jesus, and that's a beautiful thing. And you've never met a stranger in your life. You want to be where the fun is at. One downside, though, is you tend to walk in denial. You'll be doing things, they'll be falling apart, constantly trying to ignore it, and don't tend to face it. That's your battlefield. Your battlefield is denying what's going on around you. One beautiful thing about you, though, is you get relationships easily. You just get people. You understand people. It's so natural to you. You can relate to anyone, no matter their gender, their race, etc. It doesn't matter to you. You've never met a stranger, and you can walk up to talk to anyone at any time. You're always thinking larger. How can I reach more people? How can I spread the gospel more? What they can do poorly, though, what you can do poorly is tend to people please. You have to watch out for people pleasing. Instead of looking to God, sometimes you look to people, because when you do something and it feels good, you want to do it again and again and again. And sometimes you've got to watch that. You can also be very poor at time management. One of my very best friends, I crack up at him. I tell him he's always shooting from the hip, and I'll see him like we'll be doing a project and he's scrambling to get things together. He's always running late, and I tend to run late too. I'm always to the minute. So we've teased each other back and forth about that, but it's because they are still busy doing bigger, larger, more things. Their plate's so full, they're adding more, and there's literally not enough time in the day to accomplish all these things. And so I teasingly talk to him about saying no more often, and just, departmentalizing where we're putting our focus, because they can tend to spread themselves too thin. But I love this gift too. I'm going to say it on every gift, that I love every gift because everyone's special and we see God and see Christ in all these gifts. But moving on, our next gift, our fifth gift, is the giver gift. This is a person that you've met before that just gets money and they get resources. Money seems to come, or things come to them really easy. If they had 10 rocks, they'd start a rock crushing business and make $50. They see resources everywhere in life. They see ways to build and start new things. They just get it. Stewardship comes very naturally for them. That's their principle. They work in the principle of stewardship because they know how to take care of their stuff, get the most out of their resources, get every drop out of liquid. When they have money, they aren't thinking about spending it. They're thinking about saving it or investing it. Our pastor in our church is a giver, and it's wonderful. Our church is debt-free. He also has started a scholarship fund for the youth in our youth groups, that when they become seniors, they can apply for a scholarship, that we take a portion of money, we do investing in godly quality companies, mutual funds. It has made lots in value, and we're able to give a scholarship away. And that's just so exciting and so amazing. He's able to see further ahead like a prophet sees. One weakness, though, that they have to watch is they will begin to maybe think that their money is theirs and not God's, that they earned it and they deserve it. And they have to watch that and make sure they keep that in check. They can move into control and manipulation, just as a ruler can. I'll talk about that a little bit more on other people. People like Abraham, who had this gift, was more a steward of things. It wasn't so much money, but he's the father of many generations. He's the father of everything. They like to create whole, life-giving, generational blessings and create systems of holiness of God. The whole nation of Israel is a giver gift. Can you imagine that? That would be true, wouldn't it? If Jesus comes from there, that it would be generational blessings that would pass on. It's amazing. The problem is that they can be very independent. They don't want help, and they don't get help very well. They can say one thing and then do another. They also don't work in the past very much longer than, I would say, maybe about 10 days, 2 weeks. They don't want to talk about what happened long ago. They're seeing in front of them, not a little bit right here of the here and now, but they're seeing future. They're seeing how they can make it bigger, how they can make it better, more ways of resources and expounding upon them and building kingdom, building things, moving forward. And it's just an amazing gift. They just get money, they get resources, they can take anything and make a beautiful thing out of it, and it's wonderful about them. The sixth gift is the ruler gift. A person that loves to administrate and organize everything in their whole world. Their principle that they work in is freedom. But the problem is they can tend to be bossy. They have the God-given ability to see and administer things and how to work things out. Freedom is what they're meant to do, but control and exploitation can be their negative. That's why this study speaks to me as a ruler so deeply. It is because I want to see people walking in freedom and the fulfillment of what God has created you to be. I feel like people have been placed in oppression and bondage, and when this gets down in your inner being and you begin to see yourself as Christ has created you and what you have purpose for and what your life-giving qualities are and how can you affect the kingdom, and you begin to believe in yourself, there'll be a sense of freedom that comes over you that you have never felt before. A freedom to be who God has created you to be. And I get so passionate about that. It burns so deep in my soul because I am so excited to see people walking in that, talking in that, speaking in that, and it's absolutely beautiful. I have to calm down a little bit or I'm going to begin to preach, and I'm trying to teach. We're meant to create systems. We know who needs to go where, when, how, why, and put them in the place. Joseph was a prime example of this. He knew how to steward all the food, and he was the administrator in Pharaoh's court. He understood how to take that big complex task and break it down and divide it up into little chunks. They can be insensitive or push people too much. I push my kids a lot sometimes, and I have to watch. It's a weakness of mine. It's something I have to step back. Sometimes my mercy husband has to say, "You're pushing too hard." And even though I don't like to hear those words, he speaks truth to me that I am pushing too hard, and I need to step back and reanalyze and understand what's truly important. They feel like there is pressure to accomplish things all the time. And that is very true. I feel like there's always something to be accomplished, always things every day, day in, day out, things to be accomplished, things to do. But rulers, you will get things done. You know how to divide a great big task. If you know someone, if you are a ruler, step up to the plate. Someone gives you a great big task. You'll break it down. Know how to do this. Like my example, God laid it on my heart to do this study, to do this lesson. I've taught it a few times in person, but never like this. And so I begin to break it down. Okay, how many sessions will I do? How will I do that? Let me teach myself how to make videos, how to edit videos, how to put thumbnails. I didn't even know what thumbnail was. Begin to break it down into chunks and figure out how to make this work so that if it even just touches one person out of all of creation and all of being, it was worth it for that one person. And I hope it's you. Lastly, but definitely not least, our last gift that we're going to go over the overview for today is our mercy gift. What a beautiful gift this gift is. Just like the servant, you don't understand the power and authority in Jesus that you walk in, and you are absolutely amazing. And I've seen Mercy's lives be absolutely changed by this because you begin to understand, and I help articulate for you things that you felt your entire life. You are a person who feels the feelings of people in a room. If I begin to tell you a story about my dog dying and how it broke my heart, and I won't even go on, because if I go on, you're all going to be crying watching this video. You already were starting to feel the pain in my heart that I lost my best friend. And you feel with such deep compassion. You physically feel the pain that other people are feeling. But sometimes you get too much into your feelings and you miss reality. Like you think of what if something almost happened but didn't, the rest of us move on and say, well, thank goodness that God took care of that. But for you, you may overplay that in your mind, and to the point that it did happen to you. You overplay it, and it literally then becomes a false sense of reality for you. You end up in this loop of emotion, and you never get on the straight path to accomplish something. You loop in it, emotion, until you need to be set straight into the path that God has created. You're ruled by your emotions. But here's the beautiful part. You're meant to worship. and to have intimacy with God like King David did. You can release holiness into the atmosphere around you and come into the presence of God with such ease. It's natural to you. You can begin to close your eyes, start focusing on Jesus, and you're literally almost and already into the throne room. Where the rest of us have to work at it a little longer, it's so naturally to you. Worship's just your being and who you are. But sometimes, through feelings, you can justify impurity, drugs, sex, outside of marriage, those types of things. Things that make you feel good. You can fall into addiction easily, mercies tend to, because they make you feel good. And everything's about how things make you feel. So you have to be very careful about that. But you do love God. You really love Him. You love everything about Him. But you have to watch that you don't justify, well, just because I love Him, He'll forgive me and it's okay. You'll do a lot of justifying to protect other people. You have a problem or issue sometimes with disciplining your children or people around you because it hurts you to do so. But I have seen the mercy gift walk in such power and authority through this. My sister is the most beautiful example of a mercy gift of anyone I've ever met, and I can say that because I love her so deeply. I've seen her step up and be who God has absolutely called her to be. One time we were in a worship scenario, and someone was saying to her, sing joy, speak it, the word. And she couldn't get the word because sometimes they can't articulate the words, but they know what they feel. And she began to open her mouth and release a sound that I can't even begin to let you hear. But it was the most joyous sound I've ever heard in my life, and it changed the entire atmosphere of the room, that everything changed. And she can lead people into worship like no person I've ever seen, because God's given that, not because of anything she does, and she will want me to make sure I say that. It's nothing that they do, but God that is working through them that can lead them. I've learned to trust the mercy gut. Mercies know what they feel. They sometimes will be in a situation and they'll say, this just don't feel right. I don't think we should do this or turn down this road. Trust the mercy gut. They sometimes can't tell you why. If you continue to pressure them and tell them, tell me, they'll begin to think, well, what's wrong with me? Why can't I articulate that? Why can't I tell them? They just can't put into words, but they know what they feel and they are usually right. Just trust it. Don't press them down. It can lead them into oppression. It can actually, be abusive to them to do that to them. So don't do that to them. Don't do that to them. But empower what they feel and just go with it, because they're so beautiful. Another biblical example I want to talk about quickly is John. John was a beautiful apostle. He wrote about love more than any other person in the Bible. He also was the one that was able to write the magnificent scenes of worship that are found in Revelation, because he could feel all the emotions that God feels. They can relate God's heart to us and love to us. And they're so wonderful, as all 7 gifts are. I hope you've enjoyed this brief overview. I hope you've started to sit there and think, that's me, or that's my husband, or that's my best friend, or that's my child, or that's this person that I work with. It's this person. I hope that started to go through your mind and begin to resonate with you of different people. I hope you tune back into the remainder of these sessions, because I will dive in deeper into days of creation, items of furniture in the tabernacle, the churches in Revelation. I will go through all those things and how they line up with your gift. Teachers, I promise you, I'm going to give you more word, because you require word more than you would worship. You require that, and I promise I'm going to give you more examples of where this is found in the Bible and how it relates to you. I'm going to give you more facts and more principles. I'm going to give you all that in these next sessions. So the next session, I will be doing session 3. I'll begin with the very first gift, and we'll be studying the prophet gift. I hope you tune back in. I hope this has resonated and started and sparked a fire down in your soul to want to learn more about God, our Creator. Thank you so much for watching, and I am excited to see you again. God bless and love you all.